Sometimes it feels like the sun will never rise, like the birds will never sing again. Believe in a power greater than what you are going through. When you don't know what to do, keep breathing.
That's right. When you don't know what to do, just keep on breathing. From Los Angeles, the city of angels, and from the Big Apple in New York. Sorry about that. I'm Dave, the Caregiver's Caregiver at caregiverdave.com, along with my lovely co-host Adrienne Gruberg at thecaregiverspace.org. And we are coming to you live and on demand 24/7 on numerous syndicated radio and podcast networks. And I don't know, it's about 25 audio and video platforms last time I looked. iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Vimeo, Stitcher Radio. I won't read them all and bore you. But in fact, we are proud to be voted numero uno caregiver podcast of the top 50 on Player FM, and number 2 on Caring Village, and number 3 on FeedSpot out of thousands. And we have a especially exciting show planned for you today, don't we, Adrienne?
Yes, we do. Different.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time we had 3 guests on all at the same time, but the caring majority.
Yes.
4 guests? Oh my God. I must have missed one. The caring majority, family caregivers and grassroots community organizers working to create a care system that works for us all. And we have Lian, Hurst, Mann, or Mann, however you like it, Gemma Calinda, Kayla Shore, and if I missed somebody, is her name Carmen?
Yeah, Carmen Murphy.
Carmen Miranda, yeah.
Murphy.
Almost.
Murphy. And so before I start the show with them, I'd like to thank my last week's guest, Daniel West, studied to be a physical therapist in Australia, came to us to the U.S. in '92. He's worked 70 different facilities, 6 states during his 29 years in the States. Great show, interesting show, educational show. And just a reminder, you can listen to that show and this one and all our shows on caregiverdave.com or on any of our other 25 global networks that I mentioned some of them earlier. All right, enough of that. Girls, welcome to the Caregiver Dave Show. We're so excited to have you on. Let's start in an order.
Yeah.
Okay, first it'll be Kayla, just so we don't walk all over each other. And then Lian. So whenever I ask you a question, you'll always answer in this order. And then Gemma. That's
Got
3.
it.
Who's the 4th one, Adrienne? You should be able to.
Carmen Murphy.
I don't see her though.
You don't see me?
Oh, there you are, Peter.
Next to you.
Okay, and then Carmen. You're last, Carmen, but the last will be first. Don't worry about it. So I like to always ask my guests, and just a short answer, all of you, in the order that I just gave you. Just who are you girls, and why has God put you on this earth?
Big question. Thanks for having us, Dave. So my name is Kayla Shore. I'm the Southern California research manager and organizer with Hand in Hand. I'm based in LA as well. And can you hear me okay with the way I'm using
good.
my microphone? Great. And I think, I'm really excited to be here. I'm connected to care and caregiving through my family, my grandparents in San Diego. My grandfather was the primary caregiver for my grandmother from ages when he was 87 to 90 before they hired a home care attendant to help them a few times a week. But seeing that experience has made me really excited and passionate about being in a group with these other wonderful women here and many others fighting for affordable care and good wages for care workers, for that labor to be valued for everybody. So that's a little bit about me, and
That
I can
sounds
pass
important.
Yeah.
Next.
Hi, I'm Lian Hurst Mann. I'm in Los Angeles. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. I am a family caregiver. I understand a lot of the listeners are family caregivers, so thank you
Yep.
for
Yes.
joining us today. I am responsible and take care, along with my daughter, for my 98-year-old mother who is bedridden.
Oh,
And I also have the primary management responsibility for my 68-year-old sister who has a developmental disability. So this is my life, and I'm a very active member of Hand in Hand.
cool.
Yay.
Next.
All
Is
right,
that me?
this is Gemma
Gemma.
and Gemma Calinda. And
You need to see
I,
more of your head, Gemma. If you can pull your
oh,
Can you
okay.
open
tilt?
that a little
Can
more.
you tilt?
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go. That's good. Oh, it
Oh,
went right
that's
back.
Well,
all right. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. That gonna work?
Don't
Not
worry about
really.
it. Just
don't
just
worry
keep
about
going.
it.
All right. Well, there we are. There we are. My
Yes.
name is Gemma Calinda. Yay, got it. And I don't even remember the question actually. And
Question is, why were you put on this earth, Gemma?
oh, to make everyone happy. No,
All right, next.
um, I was put on the earth. I love helping people, and I really do. That makes me extremely happy. Something I've always liked to do. That's my joy, to be honest with you. I work for a Caring Majority. I'm an organizer with them, and that's what we do. We literally help everybody and anybody that we can. Domestic workers, obviously, are our focus, but anyone who needs some type of support and help, that's what we're here for. And I love doing it, and I'm so happy to be a part of this organization.
Cool. And Carmen, I think you're next,
Oh wait,
right?
and I'm connected because I need care. Yeah, sorry.
Yes. Well, the world needs people like you who like to help people, right?
Yeah.
Carmen,
Hi.
hi.
Um, I was put on this earth. I guess we discovered as we, you know, go through our life path, but I was put on this earth currently to be a mom of two special needs children who need care. And although that's not my
What
choice,
are their needs? I'm sorry.
I have one with autism and epilepsy, and another with autism and Down syndrome. And it,
Not an
it
easy
wasn't my
job.
choice career. I
Oh,
did go to school,
really?
maybe a therapist, but
Wasn't
it
on your
didn't.
resume, huh?
No, it wasn't. But I currently am their home care worker for both boys, and hoping at some point in my life to be able to find a home care worker that will come in and work with them. Um,
Hmm.
but we have to make sure we have a sustainable salary for them. Otherwise, we're never going to get anybody.
Can I ask how old they are, Carmen?
I have a 27-year-old and I have one that's
Cool.
going to be 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where on the autism spectrum are they?
They need to be supervised 24 hours.
Hmm.
I have somebody watching them. My older daughter. Yeah,
Tough
they,
job.
they know things, but you have to really supervise them and make sure that they're
Yeah.
not into any trouble. They have no safety awareness, basically.
Yeah. Well, let's
So,
get started. And I'd like to know what exactly is hand in hand, and who wants to answer that first?
I
Kayla,
think I do.
are
I
you the
think I do that card.
spokesperson?
You want it,
Okay.
Kayla?
No,
I'll go for it.
I'll let you guys decide.
um, all right. Out of the gate, Hand in Hand is a national network of employers. We employ domestic workers and all kinds of domestic workers, from nannies to house cleaners to home attendants, um, to private caregivers. And we're all working together to improve the quality of care and to improve the dignity and standards of work for the workers. So we're looking for solutions that basically help each of us, whether we're on the caregiver side or the employer side. And as we all know, down the pike, pretty soon there's not really any difference.
Hmm.
So we're looking to ensure a long-term care that's affordable and accessible to everybody. And to get there, we're trying to support both employers and caregivers to collaborate. We come up with projects and campaigns where we can work together. And the reason we exist as an organization is that the care economy in the United States and even globally is in major crisis.
Yes.
The evolution of the economic system has not prepared to hold the safety net that we need for care all over the world. And so we have gotten involved in trying to be part of a global movement, which is actually led by organizations like the National Domestic Workers Alliance, which is a very large organization of workers, and we are their allies and partners.
Wow. How long have you been in business?
10 years.
In years.
10 years.
Gemma,
It's our 10-year anniversary.
Good for you.
Gemma,
So,
take it because you were there in the beginning.
so
No, I
basically,
wasn't.
you're a facility, an agency providing care to care individuals, employees, to caregivers. Yes.
Mm,
Yeah, I would sort of reframe it as this is Kayla, that we're a community organizing, base building organization. So rather than be the people who are connecting, people who need, let's say, a caregiver, a home care attendant with someone they can hire, we do bring those people together, but we bring them together to kind of advocate for bigger long-term change in the industry. And we encourage community members who may not, who are directly impacted by the issue, right? Not all four of us here in different ways, to really take ownership of the issue and our stake in it, and raise our voices, whether it's advocating for a bill that will create more funding for home care, or changing practices in homes to make sure that there's a better communication between the home care worker and the person that they're supporting or caring for. Does that distinction kind of clarify it a little bit?
Yes, so you do it better than most people who will call an agency and say, I need a caregiver. Yeah, we'll send one out to you. Yeah?
no, we don't. No, we
They
don't.
don't do
That's
that.
not. Yeah, no, we don't. We don't do that. We advocate for home care workers, and we advocate for all domestic workers. Maybe it's a nanny, maybe it's a house cleaner, whatnot, anything like that, caregiver, and we try to make sure that their rights are correct, that they're being given the correct rights. And in California, they do a lot of like educating the employers as to what the rights are for like nannies, things like that. And in New York, we do sometimes a little different. We deal more with home care workers. So, for example, we have like a bill that we're dealing with, the fair pay for home care right now. We're trying to increase the wages because home care workers make literally like 12 to like $15 an hour, depending upon where you live. But in upstate New York, it just went to $12.50 an hour.
Mm.
So, yeah, so we, again, they know the California side a little, obviously more than I do, but we don't. So we're, we wouldn't be the ones who you call up and say, hi, I need one of these individuals. But we then advocate for them to make sure that their rights are being honored, or that they're being, to make sure they're going to be paid correctly as, essential workers.
So you're an advocate for caregivers, professional caregivers.
Yes,
And
we advocate for them, yes. Mm-hmm.
and do you get involved with family caregivers at all? Ones that don't get paid? Ones that do it free?
Yes,
Yes.
this is Lian. I'll take that.
Yeah. How do you provide
Yes,
for them? How do you help them?
in California especially, but throughout the country, many of us are family caregivers who don't have the resources to pay for attendance.
Right.
And we're working on a campaign to increase the public support for long-term services and supports. But a lot of us have begun working with hand in hand, myself in particular, because I got to a point where I absolutely had to have paid help. And my mom is 24/7 also.
Sure.
And at a certain point, you make a choice. We do have like family caregiver support group
Mm-hmm.
for those of us where that's our primary identity and we're trying to figure out how to survive. It's very hard. But we also know that a lot of family caregivers are going to end up needing to seek some kind of help and find a way to hire people. And that puts us then in the position of being employers.
Yeah.
So then you have to figure out, oh, how do I find a caregiver? How do I pay? How do I negotiate that? And that's a very complicated territory, but
Right. And it's
Yeah.
very rare that an organization will cater to family caregivers or paid caregivers. They either do one or the other. But what a great model. That sounds
I
awesome.
have a question. Lian, do you advocate for the home caregiver, the family caregiver, to receive some sort of stipend from
To the government.
government?
yes, we do. In the short run, those families, or let's say the person in need of care who qualify for government benefits, either due to a disability they might have or because of low income, then yes, we can help family caregivers figure out how to go through that channel. However, I was going to talk about this a little more later, but I'll say it now. Like in California, we have about 30% of the population that can qualify. And so that's a huge number of people.
Bigger than
And
I
a
thought.
lot of people don't know that. However, the opposite of that is we have 70% of the people who can't qualify. And so in my mother's situation, she can't qualify. She's in the process now we call spending down,
Yep.
where you just start spending every resource until you get down to that lower low income position to get benefits. But one of the things that I think is common for many family caregivers, we're trying to keep her at home. And one of the things that happens if you do qualify for benefits, if you're low enough income, they don't want to give the benefit to the family caregiver. They want you to go into an institutional environment.
Yeah, I understand.
Are you
So
trying to
right
change
now,
that?
we actually have this campaign in California that is trying to correct that.
For
And I
raging
think
in place.
Kayla is going to talk a little bit more about that later.
Mm. Well, let's talk about your New York caring majority and your campaign in New York, since we have a New Yorker here on the show on this side of the microphone.
Well, I think they're focusing. So you have the problem of getting the home care worker, and then having to hold a home care worker.
You're having internet
Yeah.
issues.
Mike.
Can anyone else take that question?
Yeah, I can take that.
All right.
I'll take it in a little different direction, but
All right.
we have something that's called like I said, the Fair Pay for Home Care Act, and it's trying to increase the wages for the home care workers because that's part of it's part of the huge problem that people aren't getting paid enough money to provide for their family. So you may have some workers, but then again, these individuals are saying, look, I can go and work in, say, a fast food facility and make more money. So that's a huge problem. You also have,
Mm.
the issue of not being necessarily trained, not having the training to, be able, to take care of individuals who may need a little more, and I'm not talking about just
Right.
how to pick up or how to transfer them, but I mean, maybe they, like Carmen has special needs children, maybe they don't have those skills, and that's really difficult to feel comfortable leaving your, children behind, or it could be,
Absolutely.
Even
a
adult
husband
children,
or
yeah.
what, that's what I was going to say,
Yes,
yeah, or a wife, or, and behind with someone who you don't really know if they can handle the job, so we're advocating for that, and it's kind of like it all comes around. Not enough money, not enough people want to stay, in the business. So, we're hoping that with this bill that we're desperately trying to get passed, it will raise the income of the regional income by 150%, which would technically mean for the individuals who are making like $12.50, their income would go up to 1875. Now,
Mm.
trust me, that's not even enough. It's really
Yeah.
not, but it's a starting, but we're going to start somewhere at least, because, home care workers are essential, but they're priceless and 100% priceless. I mean,
And
I can't say enough about that,
and if you
these
hire
laws.
someone through an if you hire someone through an agency, then the agency gets money out of that money.
Correct.
And
They do.
so the home care worker gets even less.
and to
Yeah.
piggyback
And
off of
Correct.
Gemma,
Yes.
you know,
Oh, go ahead, please.
it's absolutely correct. That's part of the reason why I don't go into my field. I went to school for it because when I do get workers on board, I have the 18-year-old loves to create social connection, loves to create
Mm,
these relationships, but you get workers on and then the turnover rate of people because of the wage is ridiculous.
yes.
So I'm left with, a heartbroken young man who thought he had somebody that he was able to go out with or do things with or be here with, and he doesn't, and that causes many issues. He's also nonverbal and uses a software device to communicate. They both do. So those are skills that the skilled component is very important, because if you don't have
Yes.
somebody who knows how to communicate with your children, it becomes a problem. Where my other one is the opposite. He's not such a happy camper, you know, but he's very obsessive compulsive about certain things. And I mean, I could tell you a real short story where I was at a grocery store and he wanted to use the bathroom, but my back was turned. And by the time I turned around, he was upset. And it takes him about 30 to 40 seconds to calm down. But imagine a home care worker looking at a 6 foot, I apologize, looking at a 6 foot, 380-pound man getting upset.
Mm,
$12 is not really worth that, especially if you're not trained and you have no benefits. So it becomes a problem.
yep.
No, I
yeah.
chose,
I forgot to say, no benefits is right. I forgot.
Right.
Absolutely no benefits. Zero, zilch, nada.
Well, how about the California situation? Who knows about that? Since I'm in
Yeah,
California.
I can speak to that, and I think just to zoom out a little bit as well, Lian and Gemma and Carmen have all talked a little bit about this, but I think connecting the home care work to the family caregiver work, and to so many people who are in this audience, we know that there's already an enormous need for caregivers. It's more work than we have people ready to do, whether they're part of a family and doing the work unpaid, or paid home care workers. And this is a need that's gonna keep growing. It's a system that's already strained, but I was looking at a study that we think about a lot in our California work, which is projecting that there's going to be another 600,000 to 3 million additional caregivers, home care workers, needed to support all Californians who need home care support by 2030. So that's less than 10 years away. And so knowing how, between family caregivers and paid caregivers, there's just no way to meet that need. Having that in mind and thinking about how investing in home care now as a real career for people, so that family caregivers can also make a choice about whether or not they want to take on that role, which I know some people do, and some people, not saying that it's not a role you want to hold, Carmen, but I know you talked about leaving a job and getting your master's and not being able to follow that role because you aren't able to, get the home care workers in your home who you need to support you.
Right.
Right.
I think, you know, our big picture is really that more investment in home care, including higher wages and benefits, will translate to more support, meaning, you know, more home care workers, more affordable home care if the investment is coming from the top, and better quality and training, more choice, less burnout for family caregivers. So I think that's really the big picture that we're working on together and we're moving towards. And to speak more specifically to California, our work is really focused on creating a universal long-term services and supports social insurance plan, which would be a benefit like they actually have something like this in Washington and in Hawaii already, as well as in some other countries. But a benefit where people would pay in, just like Social Security, and then whenever you need long-term care support in your life, you're able to access this fund and get the care you need, whether that is home care support, it could be respite care for a family caregiver. It could also be things like wheelchairs or home modifications that would allow people to stay at home. So in California, we're really pushing towards creating this benefit that will include everybody and make it more possible to actually get the support that we need and not get burnt out because of a lack.
Those are bold, ambitious goals. How do you plan to get all that done? Got a plan?
And
Let me just insert, and then you can take it up. But we already have spent the last 2 years working with the governor, actually, who wanted to draft a 10-year master plan on aging. So that has given us the framework in which to work on a long-term services and supports program. So
Governor Newsom?
Yes, Governor Newsom, our governor, yours governor.
The one who's getting recalled?
No, absolutely not going to happen. In any case, that has caused a lot of people to come together from all different buy-ins in this problem, from the top to the bottom, to anticipate this situation. So it actually has led us to form a coalition with a lot of other organizations, maybe Kayla can identify them, that we have now come up with a plan that's going to take us at least through the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain that, Kayla?
Wow.
Sure. I can jump in, and then after would also love to hear from New York, because I know New York has an amazing campaign and some victories that they've already accomplished. But here in California, we have, as Lian mentioned, laid the groundwork for this kind of ambitious vision that we have that I think is actually very, very possible and very. But now that we've gotten a recommendation for this benefit was elevated in this master plan for aging process that Lian was talking about. Now there is, I want to not get into too much of the nitty-gritty, but over the next 3 years, there'll be legislation to kind of establish a governance structure for a program like this, then one to create funding, right? Because the crux of the issue is always the money, right? So in 2 years, we'll be looking at where the funding comes from. And then hopefully in 2023, which is only, 2.5 years away, we'll be able to start implementing this new program. And the way that we do that, outside of the big picture steps, is we bring family caregivers in to share their stories to show that they need more support now. I saw a video come up. Is there a break?
No. Coming up on a break.
Okay. I just didn't want to talk over the break. So, but right, we need to actually make these pieces of legislation that are real or will be real pass and make them successful. We need people to join us, right? Join us in our fight to show that this is essential, this is needed, it impacts all of us now or in the future or in the past. And that means signing petitions, it means going to lobby visits, it means giving public comment, But really just showing all in one voice that we need this change to happen. And I can talk a little bit later about how people can plug into those efforts, but I think that's really the core of it, is the people are the engine
Wow.
of all the change we're trying to make.
You guys really have it together, don't you?
I've got a
Well,
question after the break, Dave.
all right. We'll be right back. A couple of minutes. Don't go away.
We are a community of caregivers that understands and supports you wherever you are in your journey. We are a place to connect with other caregivers, but more importantly, a place to get practical, actionable help. There are lots of ways for you to get support. First of all, you can download our welcome pack. This will get you started on your Thrive journey. Next, you can ask and get answers to your questions by posting them here in our private Facebook groups. You can also get live online support by attending one of our live weekly Connect webinars. You can get practical, actionable advice by listening to our weekly podcast. You can hear and read other stories about other caregivers' experiences. Plus, add your own in our weekly Share Your Story forum, posted every Tuesday in the Facebook group. You can access essential resources and download practical Thrive Solutions packs, all of which are geared to help you thrive as a caregiver. You get lifetime access to all of our resources. Again, we're here to support you and help you thrive and to enjoy your life as a caregiver. And remember, this is a place to get hope, not just cope.
And we're back. And we're back on the Caregiver Dave Show with Kayla Shore and Gemma Calinda and Lian, Hurst, Mann, and Carmen, and my lovely co-host, Adrienne Gruberg. I'm Dave Nassani. So what's your question, Adrienne?
Kayla and Lian, you are speaking with the governor about programs on aging, but I mean, Carmen can tell you that it's not only people that are aging that need this kind of caregiving help. What can be done? I mean, Carmen, what is going on, let's say, in New York to help you out? I mean, is there any sort of initiative that you're achieving or trying to? You're muted.
Can't hear you, Carmen.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Well, Gemma got me on this campaign for the fair pay for home care. So if we can get an increase in wages for the home care workers, it'll be more attractive to them. I mean, we have enormous amounts of positions available, but it's not attractive. Nobody wants to come and work,
Right.
which leaves us with, up in hands with nobody. And I can't leave my children. And there are many people who can't leave the individuals that they're caring for because they need the 24-hour supervision, or they need they need somebody there. And so one person in the family has to sacrifice. And not that I love my kids, but we all have like a set of things that makes us mentally stable, which work can be one of them, and friendship,
Self-care, yeah.
self-care, and all of that really starts to deteriorate, honestly. And unfortunately, a lot of us actually start to feel isolated when there's so many of us.
Of course.
Which is really ironic, to say the least.
Because there are so many of us.
So many.
But each one of
growing.
us feels isolated.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is, if we can get the funding that we need, honestly, I think that you will be able to put more into the economy. We'll be able to there'll be more money out there because more people will be happier, and the family will be more united, and you'll gain more friendships, and people will be able to work and be able to contribute.
Yep.
Yeah, caregivers are a huge voting bloc, as much as a third of the population.
Yeah.
They really need to get involved in the voting process and calling their congressman process, and advocacy groups like yourself really, really helps. So now, what's the difference between a paid caregiver and a family caregiver as far as domestic worker rights. Let me also throw in there, we have minor caregivers between the ages of 8 and 18 who are also working because, legally or illegally, for whatever reason, grandma needs someone to watch her, and I'm going to work, and you're not going to school today. You're watching grandma. And they're not covered by labor laws, 20-minute breaks and 30-minute lunches and all that. So comment on that.
Or when you come home from school, you've got to take care of somebody,
Yeah.
and that deprives children of their
Can't go out and play
childhood.
today. Yeah.
Growth. I mean, we only grow, and
Absolutely.
we only to experience certain things. And if we as a child don't experience that, we miss out on a, fundamental balance of our childhood.
Exactly.
So in order to
Exactly.
contribute to our goals, Gemma, you can answer the difference between the family
Well,
caregiver and
you can be a family caregiver and still get paid through the Consumer Directed Patient Assistance Program, CDPA, and but it can't be husband and wife. But that's why Carmen can take care of her boys and still get
Yeah.
paid because she's their mother, and so we have that program. But that program is where Carmen herself would select individual care workers if she felt comfortable, obviously, and she would be like their boss, and they essentially work for her. Now, if you're someone who is, of sound mind and body, then technically you would hire them, and then you again would be their boss. So that's the CDPA program. Now, the other program where individuals may just go to a home, a home care agency, they still get paid the same amount of money. It's more or less like we have these individuals and we're going to, kind of test you out. But that would be the difference. So, Carmen has chosen, to take care of her family, which is amazing. And then, she could technically also go through an agency, but you have to select one or the other. You can't do both. She can't say, "Oh, I've had enough of this. I'm just going to go to an agency now." You can't do that. So she's kind of obligated, which again, this is her choice. Not that it's, but she's obligated to stick with the CDPA program, which means that she will select the caregivers for her sons. Which, in my opinion, for this situation, that's the only way she could do it. You can't just send somebody. You have to, especially with her boys having special needs, she has to feel comfortable with who's coming, but that's the difference. And like I said, not real big difference, but she selects them, she handpicks them versus an agency just sending them over. And again, a husband and wife just can't care for themselves. But this is a huge program and it's in jeopardy, and it has unfortunately lost a lot of funding with the latest budget, shall we say. We don't have to go into that, but it's in jeopardy of losing, a lot. And this is a big problem because people need to be taken care of. People need to get care. We're trying to make a caring society. That's our goal at the Caring Majority. And there's lots of things that are just going against us, and it's really difficult. But we're trying to put that back in because, and I'm sure we all know, New York State's, I'm talking about New York, obviously, but New York State's care infrastructure is really poor, for lack of better words.
Really poor.
Yes. And I don't mean money-wise. It's just,
No, I know.
we just, yes, too, but, but it really needs help. It needs restructuring. And this is part of a lot of these movements that, we're trying to facilitate, trying to get more money for home care workers so they can go back into the system, trying to make it an essential job because it's a career and people aren't viewing it like that. When COVID came and still here, but, who was on the front line? They were. They were finally noticed, and I'm just hoping that recognition does not go away because, it's really important.
From the way things are going today, you might be getting a new governor to work with. So we'll see about that. I wanted to talk about spend till you're desolate. Go back to that. I was going to say something, but I forgot. I think you have to be real careful how you do that, don't you? Because there's look-back periods, to see if anything funny has been going on for the last 5 years, for example.
Right.
And so you have to be very careful that you don't cause any red flags. You don't go out and get a $10,000 cruise and go ahead.
And as of we're trying to. Technically, this was supposed to start in October, but as a result of the pandemic, a lot of things got put off. So right now we're hopefully going to be fighting off. I did a lot of stuff for it yesterday, actually, speaking about this bill from the Senate and the Assembly, which is basically saying April 1st, you're going to have that look back in your bank account and your assets and all those other things. And if you've had over the limit of money, then you're not going to be able to be considered for the program. But, that's the only, I can say that's to me, and I think it's amazing that people can get the services. But Medicaid is the only insurance that offers long-term care. The only, unless you have had it, previously, like in terms of, set up an account and you have it for later on and, and you're paying into it. And that's a problem because therefore it's literally putting people in a predicament where they have to, decide to live in poverty in order to qualify for these benefits, and that's not fair. But there are certain programs that will allow you to not do that. But for a lot of people, can't buy a house, can't have a house, can't have a car, can't do that, and it's rough. It really is rough.
No assets.
No assets whatsoever. Some programs will allow you to, don't get me wrong, it's not everyone, but it's not always told to you like that. It's more like spend everything you have, liquidate, everything, and then you can, then you'll be able to be in the program. And now with these two bills, the ADLs have changed, which basically mean that in order to qualify, it's going to be either, it's kind of an interesting statement, but are you disabled enough? And if you're too disabled, it's called nursing home.
Right.
And it's scary. It's really scary. So I'll let someone else talk.
Did you ever talk about the connection to care and caregiving? We covered that.
You have to care to do caregiving. I mean, and there's a difference. I always said there's a difference between being a caregiver and someone who's a caretaker. That's always my thing. Are you like,
Yes.
Carmen's a caregiver, like 100%.
Well, that's where you have to, when you do your interviews, you have to make sure that the person you're interviewing cares in order to be a caregiver, not just there to get a paycheck, which the paycheck is that big. So they're going to.
And there's a perception that paid family caregivers. No, I take out the family part. There's a perception that paid caregivers somehow don't have the same compassion and empathy and caring that a family caregiver has, and that may be true for a tiny fraction of them, but all in all, I know many paid caregivers who take their jobs very seriously, get depressed when their client has died and moves on, go through depression and so on.
You form a bond.
Pardon?
No, because you form a bond, with the family a lot of the times as well.
If you care, you form a bond,
Exactly, and honestly, I have someone who it's through a grant that I have and I'm able to, she came to me first and it was just like luck that she was so perfect, but she cares. She's been doing this for 40 years.
Wow.
She's a caregiver. I mean, literally. But, you definitely, so the money thing, I don't see how anyone could really do it for money considering how they just went to $12.50. They were at $11.80 for I don't even know how long. Wow. $11.80. So, again, if you got to really care, if you're going to be willing to make $11.80, you don't do it for the money.
And this is not easy work. It's not easy work. You're caring. Each individual is unique. And you have to get to know that individual. You got to know how they communicate, what they need. Just by the look of somebody's face, once you get to, that person needs this. Excuse me for a minute. Let me manage them. You really get to care about them. And so you put the home care worker in a position of, maybe even feeling bad that they have to may leave because they can't afford their housing or their food or even their children's education or things like that. And now they then have to say, I have to make the choice of leaving somebody I really care about and I really enjoy this work because I'm not getting, what I'm worth. Basically.
I can't afford what I need to afford, to live a livable wage. It's not a livable wage, bottom line,
It is.
It is.
So.
Can I throw something in here too? Because I am an employer, and I have over the years between my daughter and myself taking care of my mother and my sister, we have we do employ. And in fact, one of the reasons I joined Hand in Hand was because we had grown so close to my mother's caregiver that I wanted to be sure that I was, to the extent that it was economically feasible, to be the best possible employer I could be. And in California, we actually, in the last couple of years, have gained certain legal rights for paid caregivers. Most employers don't know it, and most workers don't know it. So we have a big education program going on to do that education, but it involves being paid for overtime, which is a big issue because a lot of private home employed caregivers, especially given the immigration situation in the United States, get terribly exploited through this. And so you find people who are living in or working around the clock and have no protection. And one of the things, let me see if this connects and makes sense, is that we have fought for there to be labor rights that we can win that are stronger than the rights of citizenship. So that one of our partner organizations, like the Filipino Workers Center, is actually able to win wage theft cases based on the labor law, even though many employers, especially agency employers, will try to threaten that you can't have a higher wage because you have no rights, because you don't have citizenship. So this, I think, is an exciting and subtle point, but a big point for the future of home care workers to actually get these kind of protections. And so the point I was going to try to make about this earlier before it came up was, how do you afford to pay what it is, what the law is now asking us to pay? How do we as family caregivers, family members, find the resources? Like right now, you can't even buy private long-term care insurance anymore. Most people wouldn't qualify. And the reason that we need this, I can't remember the language Kayla used, but a social insurance program that's publicly funded is so that it isn't on an individual family to see if you can borrow from each other or mortgage your house or take out another loan or all the kind of things that people are doing now. Plus, increasingly, people are not in family units. So that, is a whole nother thing. We need a societal commitment to care.
Wow. So right. You four are just so passionate and experienced, and it's like the dream team, and I'm happy that you're fighting for us.
They're right. Yes.
So, and obviously, investment in home care is impacting family caregivers. So you've got all the bases covered, so to speak. And you spoke a little about how you plan on making these changes, which is pretty good. Have you missed anything? Are there any other ways that you plan on doing this that you haven't already gone over?
This is Kayla. I can just speak a little bit to folks who aren't in New York or California, because I know you have listeners who are all over the country and even the world. So we're really excited about these two big campaigns we have going on, and the Biden-Harris administration has had a caregiving platform that I'm sure many people were aware of, where they really did elevate caregiving as a priority in their administration. And so now we have this opportunity on a national level to hold them accountable. And one way that we are working on doing that is by making sure they include home and community-based services, home care and the other services that go along with that allow people to stay at home and not be in institutions, making sure that those things are included in the upcoming pandemic relief and recovery packages, and really putting pressure on them to stick with their promise. And I think the number that we're asking for is $450 billion investment in those services in the upcoming bill, which is a lot of money, and it's never even it's not going to be enough, right? But it's a way to stick with the recovery. So there's that's something that we're pushing on with our partners at Caring Across Generations, which does a lot of work with family caregivers. And I'll mention the URL if you want to learn more about that campaign or the ones we're working on in California or New York. It's bit.ly/caregivers take action. So bit.ly/caregivers take action, and that's a way to plug into these different efforts. Because I think, Dave, you said, we're so glad that we're fighting for you, but I think actually we're fighting alongside you, or at least that's our hope, right? Alongside you and alongside your listeners. Because we need everybody.
And if I don't know if you said this because I went off by accident, and if you go to the New York Caring Majority website, you'll see our video. It's about a 3.5-4 minute PSA, and calling for home care. Please, everyone, please go see it. And at the end of it, sign the petition to the governor that you want fair pay for home care. Again,
can you repeat the name of where we're supposed to go?
Yes, no problem. The New York Caring Majority on Facebook. That's the New York Caring Majority. And honestly, like as soon as you open it up, you'll see calling for home care, and you can play the video. And it's an amazing. It's incredible, and they're made by our leaders in Caring Majority, and it's all real, 100%. And it's about 3.5 minutes, and it just puts out there, why we need serious changes in our home care infrastructure. And at the end of it, there is a petition to sign for the governor, and it doesn't make a difference if you're in New York or California. It doesn't make, you can still sign it. And this is what we're going to be, sending off and doing what we have to do, because we have got to make this fair pay for home care go through. It has to happen. We have to see justice.
Again, New York Majority?
Care Majority.
Care Majority, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep, New York Care Majority.
One of the things I've always felt is that because of a family caregiver's role, they're not speaking up for themselves. And I keep feeling we've got to make a little noise. And it sounds like that's what you're trying to do. It's time to make some noise. And I know in the last president, not the last presidential campaign, the old presidential campaign, no one used the word caregiving. And the first time I heard it in this campaign, I was like, finally, somebody is actually using the word. And the very fact I attended the Rosalind Carter symposium last year, and that was she founded her caregiving foundation in 1984. And this was a first lady, and no one's paying any attention. And now I think they are.
I mean, like I said before, unfortunately, COVID, I think, has brought this out. Unfortunately for COVID, but fortunately for COVID, now people are looking and seeing that these home care workers are in dire need to be paid more, but they are so essential, and we need them.
And we don't know what the long-term effects of COVID are going to be yet.
Correct.
So people are worried about what's down the line.
Correct.
Well, the
I can't
family
believe how fast time has flied. Is that a word?
Flown.
we've run out of time. We only have time to just tell us how caregivers can get involved and contact information. And if you can do that in like 3 minutes, awesome.
I'll start. In New York, I have the home care worker roundtable. That's how I met Carmen, actually. And you can get involved. You can email me at Gemma. That's GEM like Mary, M like Mary A at domesticemployers.org. That's how we're lifting up home care workers, and that's what we're doing. So Gemma at domesticemployers.org. From the Caring Majority, and that's how you can get in touch.
Great.
Thanks, Gemma. I can jump in. This is Kayla. You can reach me at kayla@domesticemployers.org, and also I'll mention that link again. And if you put your information there, then we could, you can check what you're interested in. We can follow up with you so that you can get plugged in the way you want, or you can just, start getting emails so you learn more. And actually, Gemma, there's also the video is on that link as well, and it'll drive people to the petition. So it's a one-stop shop, and that's bit.ly/caregivers take action.
Again, you cut out.
Repeat that.
Yeah. So the link is the one-stop shop link is bit.ly.
Oh, Bitly.
/Bitly. Yep. /caregivers take action.
Is there a .com after that or not?
No.
Nope, the .com. Yep. It's dot is before the ly.
Okay.
And I'll put it.
Okay.
bit.ly, and then caregivers take action. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just one last thing. It's not just the roundtable that we do, obviously. So get in touch, like I said, going to the Facebook site, like our page, and you can see all the services and things that we offer, because it's just more to us than the roundtable. We're huge, and we are trying to do help everyone we can.
Great.
And Dave
we're
and
behind
Adrienne.
You, and if there's anything we can help you do,
much.
let us know. What were you saying?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
It's been amazing.
Did I interrupt anybody? You're all done talking?
Yes, I just wanted to say that this is my first introduction to your project. So I'm excited to find out about it and sign up with your group and join all those other family caregivers out there.
Well, I'm at caregiverdave.com. Adrienne is at thecaregiverspace.org. And I appreciate you all coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
And it was a great show. We've got to have you back and see how you're doing.
Yep. See how you're making progress.
Yes,
thank you.
And I'm personally excited because I have always had the goals of what you guys are doing, and you're actually doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So thank God for you.
Yeah.
So until next week, we'll see you back. Same time, same channel. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Sometimes it feels like the sun will never rise, like the birds will never sing.